Hello there, I'm Yvonne de Celis coming to you on YDCtv. It is Wednesday, April 17th, and it's a little bit after 7 p.m. I'm here today to give you a couple of energy healing exercises. This is actually a couple of ways of doing similar things. One is an exercise called the homolateral crossover. I'm going to actually save that one for last. And the other one is just called the cross crawl. Now the cross crawl is part of Donna Eden's 10-minute feel-good daily energy routine, which I tried to do on Friday, but I realized over the weekend that I neglected to include this particular routine, and this one's pretty important. There's a lot of really good benefits you can get from this one. It can help improve balance. You can get better balance. You can get more energy and just better harmony in general. The other side note that Donna had mentioned too is if you carry, say you're carrying large bags of groceries or something like that, and then you put them down and that makes you a little bit off balance, this will help you with that as well. So that's something else this is really useful for. So I know a lot of people who could benefit from this. I'm very sorry that I left this out. But I also want to do a couple of different versions of this exercise. One is seated, one is standing, and then the other one that I'm going to do is called the homolateral crossover, which does not involve a need to use your legs at all. I'm doing this because I know a lot of people who can't. And also just for the homolateral crossover, just so you know, it's good to use whether you can or cannot use your legs. This is a good one to do, but I want everyone to be able to benefit from this, and if you are unable to use your legs, I still want you to be able to benefit from this one, so I'm going to include this in this video as well. Before I begin, when you see the subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner of your screen, if you think of it and if you're interested, just click that. It's free to do. And what that means is YouTube will send you occasional notifications if I make changes, updates to my video, etc. If you want constant notifications, when you hit subscribe, a little bell will show up next to that. Just click on the bell and there'll be two little parentheses will surround the bell, which means you'll get notified every single time. I personally don't recommend it because I don't like getting hounded by YouTube. But if you don't mind that, by all means, go for it. But if you don't have time for any sort of interactivity at all, I thank you just for coming here to watch the video. So I'm going to get into it now. Before I start doing any of the crossover exercises, the first thing that it's a good thing to do is to get your body going in the right direction. Just make sure all the energy pathways are moving in the right directions. And a good way to start with that, very quick and easy, the K27 points. I'm trying to avoid my microphone, trying to get used to it. But anyway, K27 points are right here, and the way you find them is by tracing your collarbone. The collarbone, just trace it from the back, go to the front, right where the 2 points almost meet at the center, and then just let your fingers drop down, and that's just a little teeny bit. Right underneath there, most people have little soft spots right there, right underneath the top of the collarbone, right where it meets at the center. You should be able to find 2 little soft spots. It shouldn't hurt either. You should be able to tap these spots fairly vigorously without hurting. There shouldn't be any pain. You'll definitely feel the tap, but it shouldn't hurt. Anyway, that's how you do the K27 points. And just do it for a few seconds, just to get everything moving in the right direction. And then let's start with the first cross crawl. I'm going to do the first one standing. So basically what the cross crawl is, it's an exaggerated march, as Donna Eden would put it. I think that's a pretty good way of saying it. So you're doing a march, but you're doing a very exaggerated march. So you're bringing your hands across to the opposite directions. You're moving your arms and your legs in completely opposite directions. You're basically making a crisscross movement here. And you want to just do this for a few breaths. Just if you can, about 20 or 30 times altogether is pretty good, if you can do that. I'm not going to, for the sake of time, do that for that long. I just wanted to show you that's the way to do that standing. Now I'm going to show you how to do this seated. So I'm going to try to move back far enough so that you can see what I'm doing here. So if you are in a wheelchair or something like that and you can move your legs, this is a good one to do. If you're on your back, you can do that. If you can move your legs as well, this is a good one. So you're going to be still doing the exaggerated march. And I'm basically aiming for my knee with this part of my arm. I'm not hitting though, I'm just letting it touch. Just guiding the energies this way. So that's another way to get the energies moving. And I'm just picturing myself as directing the energies and telling them. I'm letting them know by motioning for them that I want them to make an X. I don't want them to be parallel. I want them to crisscross like a DNA strand. And that was it for the crossovers, for the cross crawl. But this last one, as I said, is if you cannot move your legs or if you just don't feel up to doing that one. A lot of times for me, I'm just too fatigued. If it's the beginning of the day, I can easily do the other one. I'm very, very fortunate, thankfully, and knock on wood, hopefully things will stay that way as long as possible. But I can usually do either the seated or the standing one earlier in the day, but I find this one much more beneficial for myself in the evening in particular. If I'm very worn out, I find the homolateral crossover to be very helpful, and I do find it to be somewhat energizing as well. And again, I'm going to try very hard to avoid the microphone. So you want to start by holding onto your shoulder, and you're going to want to work the breathing into this, and whether you do one move on an in or an out breath is really up to you. I'll do the in breathing and then I will move my arms. What you're going to be doing is you're pulling the energy from your shoulder down and across to the opposite hip, and then you go to the other shoulder and you're moving the energy down and across to the opposite hip. I did have another energy healer tell me that one way that she found made this feel more effective is she would tap the hip she was going to be aiming for first. So she would just lightly tap it, and then she would go to that shoulder, and then she'd pull down and go across to that hip she just tapped. And then she'd tap the other side and go to that shoulder on the other side and go down and across. I don't do the tapping. I find that kind of confusing, so I just go from my shoulder to my hip, and then I go back up and across. And I just think of it as I'm taking a material and just pulling it across, so that once again it's making that crisscross motion that I want the energy to take. And that's pretty much it. I hope that one is as beneficial to you as it was to me. You should definitely feel a shift when you do that. Generally speaking, it's like a temperature shift or pressure shift. You should feel something that particularly can be helpful, because when your energies are out of alignment, you'll feel sluggish, you'll feel like something's not right. And doing a simple move like that can be incredibly helpful. That's actually what got me into energy healing. That was one of the first energy exercises I tried, and I was astounded by what a difference such a simple routine could make. So anyway, I really hope that that helps you. Please leave comments down below once again if you can. Thank you so much for your time. Namaste, peace and light. Hope to see you again soon. Please be well. Cheers, and thanks again for your time. Bye-bye.